Hey everybody, this is Jason Akers with greenacrespc.com, Green Acres Pest Control, local to Lynchburg and Charlottesville, Virginia. Going live tonight, going to talk about some ladybugs. Previous episode was about stink bugs, and tonight we're going to talk about ladybugs, another critter that tries to invade the home and cause you all kinds of problems. They will leave little smears on your wall. They smell and they stink when you get them in your vacuum cleaner, and they're just overall really just a nuisance. I know a lot of people don't really worry too much about them, especially since now we've started seeing the stink bugs invading the home. A lot of people just don't worry about ladybugs anymore, but I'm just here trying to explain a little bit on why they're a problem, what causes them to be a problem, and why you should be concerned. Let's see, I've got my live chat open. If anybody wants to ask me any questions about anything other than ladybugs, or anything, just I'm open for suggestions. Don't forget, you can check me out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, or you don't have to like, dislike, whatever, but subscribe to my channel. There's a little bell up there. If you click that, you'll actually get notifications as to when I go live. I'm going to try to do these live streams every Tuesday night, maybe 2 a week if I can get, but right now I'm just trying for at least once a week. Pretty busy. It's a springtime. I get real busy this time of year, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I also have a Facebook page, and my web page is greenacrespc.com, so check me out there too. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for any new videos, or any questions you might have on something else, don't hesitate to ask. If you're seeing this after the live stream, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments, or even send me a private message, and I can throw it up there maybe sometime next week or the week after. So, but anyway, we're going to talk about ladybugs tonight. What are ladybugs? Why are ladybugs a problem? That is an Asian lady beetle. It's orange. You'll notice. Let's see. Let me move it over here. Let's blow it up a little bit so you can see it really well. You'll notice it doesn't look just like. Let me show you an actual ladybug too. We'll put that up for comparison. All right. See now, that ladybug there is nice, bright, and red. Probably what you're used to seeing. Of course, it's just like the little cartoon picture there that you see too. The red with the black spots, that's the generic, what everybody sees when they see a ladybug. That's what people think of. But this one here is an Asian lady beetle. What they are is they're from Asia. There was an invasion of aphids all along the Blue Ridge Mountains, all the way up as far the Blue Ridge Mountain Range, Appalachian Mountain Range, all the way up through the Shenandoah Valley up into New York. And aphids attack trees. They kill trees. They kill vegetation. They're little. Anyone who gardens out there understands that if you have a greenhouse, or you have issues with you'll have issues with these little bugs at one point or another. They get underneath the leaves of your plants, and they chew your plants, and they suck the life out of your plants. And so what ladybugs are carnivorous, so they will eat these little insects that eat your plants. And so what they did, the government, along with several other educational institutions, went and released the ladybugs along the Appalachian Mountains, all the way up and all the way south, all the way north of Virginia and south of Virginia. And this was to help combat the aphid problem we were having. And the ladybugs, because they're of Asian descent, they aren't a natural they're not a natural predator for the area. They're not a normal. They really shouldn't be here. They are invaders from another country. We don't have an actual predator for these bugs in this country. So what happens is, instead of, and let me get my water here. I've been suffering from a little bit of laryngitis lately. But what happens is they will swarm the home. They come in the home in the winter. in order to winter over, because it starts to get cold. They don't like the cold, so they come in and they'll sleep in your attics. They'll sleep in your wall voids. They get in around your windows and your doors, and once inside the walls, you know it's nice and warm in your house through the winter, so you may see these come out and fly around in the house all winter long. They'll come out in your windowsills and they'll fly around, bounce around in your windows, and they are attracted to light. So at night when it's dark through the winter hours, through the winter nighttime hours, they will get onto you, crawl on your shirts, get on you in the bed. They're just as obnoxious as stink bugs, but they are, in my opinion, they're not as obnoxious, and I'm sure I'll share that opinion with many other people as well. They don't bother me as bad as stink bugs do. But before we had stink bugs, these were probably my number one irritant during the wintertime. These, along with cluster flies. Now, my next episode is going to be about cluster flies as far as invaders, and I'm also going to do a couple shows about carpenter bees and termites and the springtime pests that we're starting to see now, ants and things like that are getting in. I might even actually do ants as my next Invader series, because they do like to get into the home really bad this time of year, and that's something that you're worried about right now. Now, the ladybugs are waking up from their winter sleep right now. You'll start seeing them. You probably have already started to see them coming out in the home over the last probably 2 months, when it first started getting warm in the beginning, like the end of February into March. That's when they start waking up from hibernation, and they start coming out and flying around in the house looking for a way to get outside. So they were a problem this year. They are kind of iffy. Some years they're worse than others. I find that in all the years I've been dealing with these, the first infestation I dealt with, I was 15 years old. That was 20 years ago. And they got worse. They got real bad several years in a row. And then after probably about 10 years ago was the last really bad swarm period that I dealt with. And then last year they were pretty bad too. But they really rely a lot on the first frost date. What happens is in the fall, when you start losing your daylight hours. So the later into the year it gets, the earlier your sunset is. So as you have less and less daylight in the afternoon, you're going to have less and less of a likely chance for these things to invade your house. So what happens is, say you get an early frost date, say middle of September, it's real cold, you get frost. It's more likely to have a nice warm day after that frost date than it would be if it were to freeze in, say, the middle of October. Sometimes we have a frost date as late as October, even as late as the beginning of November. If the frost happens, if your first frost happens that late into the year, you more than likely will not have ladybugs in your house at all. Unless you just live in the mountains and they're just because they were released over the mountains. If you live in the mountains, you're gonna have a worse time with these. But as far as the further down you get, further into the foothills and even away about that closer to the plain areas, you're not gonna get these as bad, because they're not going to be able to make it to your house before the sun goes down. They like the afternoon sun. They get on the wall that's heated up by the afternoon sun. They crawl around those windows and doors. If you have a screened-in porch or even a greenhouse type, people will put those sunrooms and stuff on the side of their houses. Those are really bad for ladybugs. They're also bad for stink bugs because they hold so much heat from the daylight. And like I said, as your daylight hours lessen and lessen in the afternoon, usually ladybugs swarm the home between 2 and 4 in the afternoon when the sun is at its warmest. And in October, November, you just don't have those nice warm afternoons. It starts to get pretty chilly by about 2:30 or 3, and so you're just, because the sun's going down, you're having less of that direct sunlight hitting the wall, and so you're not going to have them as bad. They typically do swarm after the first frost, because it's almost like it shocks them into say, oh, hey, I got to get in, it's cold, we need to make sure we get in the home pretty quick. And so that's why you'll notice them after the first frost, and typically not before the first frost date. So I hope I answered everybody's questions about ladybugs. You know, it hadn't really been a real lot to say about them, but I know that the people have been asking me questions and wanted to know about them. One thing I will set straight is the stink bugs were not released to eat ladybugs. That's a big you know, thing people have going around. I know a lot of my customers say, oh, well, I know the stink bugs, they were released to kill the ladybugs, weren't they? And actually, no, the ladybugs were released to kill aphids. The stink bugs were they were just a fluke. They really weren't. They're herbivores. They don't really eat. They're not carnivorous, so they eat mostly plants, and they don't eat other bugs. So the ladybug was released to kill the aphids because they are carnivorous. They do eat bugs. About 80 to 90% of their diet is aphids, so they're actually pretty beneficial. They will bite you. You know, some people will tell me I got bit. I actually didn't believe it until I got bit myself by one. They do bite when they swarm really bad. They're crawling all over you. They will bite you. I had one bite me on the eyelid one time, you know, because they swarm and they just get all over your face and all over your shirt, and you're like brushing them off and everything. But they will absolutely, they will bite you. They don't really hurt. It's not like a mosquito bite or something like that, but they don't, you know, leave an itchy spot or anything. They just bite you because they bite you. You know, it's not on purpose or anything. It's just the way they are. And so it's not really anything to worry about. They don't really hurt anything. They do get in. I did have, I mentioned before in one of my videos about a customer of mine who went into anaphylactic shock over stink bugs. He also had the exact same reaction to ladybugs, and he was joking about it, and he said, I would hate for my obituary to say death by ladybugs, because, you know, that would be kind of crazy, you know, because very few people would even believe it was true. And so they can cause that. They are really stinky when they get vacuumed in the vacuum cleaner. I usually recommend that people have a separate vacuum for ladybugs and stink bugs. You can actually take and put, this is a little pointer, you can take mothballs, stick them in your vacuum bag. 1 or 2 is all you need, and that way as you vacuum up the stink bugs and the ladybugs and any other bugs into your vacuum bag, it will kill them in the vacuum, and you don't have to worry about them getting back out of the vacuum cleaner. Ladybugs and stink bugs can escape from your vacuum. You know, you seal them up, you think they're sealed up in there, but you know they can get in around your windows and your doors and your siding and Tyvek wrapped homes and everything. It's a vacuum cleaner is nowhere near as sealed as tight as your home. So they can get out of your vacuum cleaner. I have had people that'll take the tube, you know, they have that little tube from their vacuum cleaner, and they'll stuff it with like a sock or something just to try to keep them out of from coming out. You know, if you don't want your house smelling like mothballs, then I do recommend, you know, stuffing a napkin or something down inside your vacuum so they can't crawl back out of there. So, just so you know, I'm going to be doing these shows at least once a week. I think I mentioned that before. On Tuesdays is when I'm going to try to get them done. Tuesdays and Fridays, hopefully. That's my schedule. That's what I'm going to work towards, at least Tuesday nights. If you want to find out more, visit my website at greenacrespc.com. It's you know, all my information there is free. I've got blogs, I've got videos, I've got all kinds of real interesting stuff there. Go check me out. You can search me out on Google, Green Acres Pest Control. Click me there. You know, I'm there too. I'm in YouTube. I got my links everywhere, so just hit me up, let me know what you think. Comment on the bottom of this video anything you want to know, any questions or anything you might have. I always answer. Yeah, I try to. I don't really answer trolls too often. Sometimes I do, but go ahead and ask me anything you want in the comments. I always answer all my comments. People call me on the phone. Don't hesitate. I'm always available. I always make myself available to you guys, and I'm just here trying to help and explain to you how things work. So I just like I said, subscribe, and I will see you next week.